Welcome to Key Travels. My name is Amber Key, and normally I show you videos of places and things that you can do while you are in San Antonio. And because whether you want to discover something new about the city and you're a local like me, or you're visiting and you want to try to figure out what to do for your day. Well, today is a little different because I am in New Orleans, and this is day 4 of me being in New Orleans. If you haven't already checked out days 1 through 3, go check out those videos first and then check out day 4. So the first thing that we are doing for today is going to be an exciting day. We're going to get picked up from our hotel and we're going to go on a airboat swamp tour, which I am super excited about. I think that sounds like a lot of fun. So we're going to be doing that. Then afterwards, we're going to go to the aquarium and the insectarium, which I am sure I mispronounced that word. My pronunciation of things is completely terrible. So, but yeah, so we're going to hit that up. And then afterwards, we are going to get on the ferry and we're going to go over to Algiers Point, because I heard that there is a bar called Anchor and Crown. It is a Doctor Who themed bar, and I absolutely love Doctor Who. I'm a huge fan of Doctor Who, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. After that, we're really not sure where the rest of the day is going to take us. A lot of it depends on what time it will be. I've been trying to hit up Loretta's at the French market to try some of the beignets there. I heard they're amazing. But the first day we went there at like 5, they're supposed to close at 6, and everyone was packed up by 5. So we went the next day at 4 and it was packed up. So hopefully today we will see if it is going to be a success or not. So a lot of it depends on the time on what we do after we go to Anchor and Crown. But come along with me and let's explore New Orleans.
So our day was starting off with a airboat tour of the swamp area in Louisiana. The company I went through, they sent a van to pick us up at our hotel, which would also bring us back to the hotel afterwards. Now, I booked this on Viator, and this is through Airboat Adventures. So once we get to the area, once they drop us off in the area, all we have to do is just walk into the building, and then once we get inside, over to the left area, we give the person at the desk our information and our name, and then they assign us which boat we'll be on, and then they give you a wristband for you to put on so that they know that you are a part of the airboat tour. And so you just put that on, and then we had a little bit of time, so we were able to walk around the gift shop area. They had shirts and stuff and raincoats that you could purchase, or ponchos. They also had this gator, which I thought was really fun. He was all decorated and ready for Mardi Gras, so he had the Mardi Gras colors. Definitely was reminding me of Louise from Tiana from Princess and the Frog. They also had a white alligator as well that you could stop by and take a look at. So that was really interesting to see, because you don't see many white gators. And then after we looked around the gift shop a little bit, there was this other area, this like picnic area with picnic tables that you would go to. There was this statue of a gator, which was a really good photo opportunity, so if you wanted to take a picture there. However, once you got up the ramp, there was you were first introduced to where there was this green screen so you could get your picture taken there. We didn't bother getting our picture taken here. This was an additional cost if you wanted to do, but we didn't really want to do that. There is also a bar there that you could go to, so if you wanted to get a couple of drinks before your trip, you could go and get some drinks while you waited to be assigned onto your airboat. So they had different canned beers and frozen drinks that you could get. And then, like I said, there was some picnic tables that you could sit down with your group while you waited for your number to get called. In the meantime, you just got to sit down and kind of relax and enjoy the area. It was a beautiful day this day that we went. It wasn't too hot or it wasn't too cold, so it was a pretty nice day. So I was able to go and take a look and see the area. So it is a beautiful area, actually, and you can see these are the airboats that we were going to be on. There are different sizes. Over there are the regular boats. Those do not go so fast. Those are really slow. But these ones can go pretty fast. And so they were a lot of fun. As you can see, they are in small groups. So you will not be assigned a very large group. Some of them look a little smaller than others. We were assigned one that had 3 rows to it. So was the one that we were assigned. So we were on, I think it was boat number 2. So we just headed down the pier to get to ours. That one is a little bit larger. Fortunately, we did not go on a large one because I feel like that'd be a little bit slower. So the one we had only had 3 rows. We sat in the middle row. So each group, there's 3 different groups with us. And I have to say, I loved it. It was nice being on the water. They start you off kind of nice and slow until you get to that open area. So you can take a look and see how the swamp area is. And this portion of it, like I said, goes pretty slow. The motor was very loud, so they do give you headphones that you can wear if you choose to wear the headphones. Of course, you don't have to. We did bypass a cemetery here. He explained how the cemetery is built up a little bit higher because of the water levels here, because they are pretty low. And as you can see, once you get into that open area, you go zooming. We were flying on the water here. It was so much fun. We had a absolute blast. We were flying down the river here. It was my favorite part. I love just flying without wind just blowing down on you. And it was very, very loud, especially when it got really, really fast. And as you can see here, the water going by, we were absolutely flying. So it was a lot of fun. You couldn't really see so much as far as like details of everything, but that's why during this open area is when you go by really fast, so that way you can get to there. And then once we got to the swamp area where we would see gators, we kind of slowed down a little bit so that way we could enjoy seeing the gators.
You never know where a gator's at. Now they say, swamp crack. Now they meat eaters. Now that's a big gator. Might be the biggest we see. I don't know. Now could have been during the summer. Whoa. You have to stand up here. I'll tell y'all, watch. Keep your hand and feet in the boat. You watch your boat. Any closer than that?
Oh, hi.
No, it would be real hot. They go in the summertime. To be honest with you, we see more gators. I want to try something. I don't know if I can. I might be making a fool of myself. Nope, just kidding. Now that's a big gator. That's about a 10-footer. Whoa. And y'all ladies don't get no ideas, but I can get rid of somebody very easy here.
This was my favorite area right here, where it had like the archway of the trees with all the Spanish moss hanging. Definitely, when I think of the bayou, this is what I think of. And then he was telling us, I had mentioned Princess and the Frog earlier, but with the gator. The animators actually came out here and went on one of these boat tours and kind of got an idea of the bayou. So the scene in Princess and the Frog with the bayou was actually drawn for this area here. They actually got the inspiration from this exact area for the bayou. So that was kind of an interesting fact for me, especially since I love that movie Princess and the Frog. We actually watched it before we even went on this trip in preparation for here. Now, he said that he wasn't sure how many gators that we would see on this trip, since it was January. So sometimes the gators don't necessarily come out to where you can see them, but we actually saw several gators. We saw a lot of gators, all different sizes. So it was really, really nice. You did see some damage where trees had fallen down from the hurricane and everything, and just life kind of grew around it. But yeah, we got to see a lot of gators, and so it really made this trip very fascinating. And our guide told us so much information about the gators. It was really nice seeing them really up close. Some of them, like that one, came right up to the boat, and so there was no zoom needed on my camera. I got to see these gators really up close, which made it so much more fun. And then once we got to an open area, off we were again, zooming on down super fast, which was really good. We were just flying on that water whenever we got to an open area. So I definitely would recommend do an airboat trip when you come to Louisiana. You have to do an airboat trip when you come here. It was a lot of fun.
Gotta get a few birds and stuff. Like I told you, a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? When we can. Like I say, and that's why I wanted to come in here, a little bitty ones, you see? Look how small. Now that ain't even a year old rat. You see? That ain't even a year old. But it's funny. They like it in there. We pass through here and we stirred up the little mini fish and stuff. They love it. Oh yeah, they're chomping like that one over there. And that's like I say, that's why you gotta use the airboat to come through all these areas. Now you see when the water's real up high, they go more in the grass. You know what I mean, guys? So I'll tell you, the average nest is 20 to 60, only 1 to 2% bacon.
Oh.
They get ate up. You see the big blue herrings, you got big catfish.
Oh, yeah.
And then in here, like I told you, you got bobcats, coyotes, raccoons, so many things against them. You know what I mean, guys? Well, look at that little one there. I had to make a little pass in here. I hope I'm not lost right now. Well, we don't ever get lost.
I really enjoyed getting to see the tiny little baby gators as well. He said these were less than a year old, and they were so tiny. We got to see the little tiny guy. So yeah, we saw big gators and little gators. It turned out this was the biggest gator that we saw here. So we had our own little grand finale. Got to see this big, huge guy. Loved it. Now, once we got back to the hotel, we decided to go and hop on the ferry, since we did have that La Pass that we had. That was our 3-day La Pass, so we were able to go onto the ferry. So we wanted to hop onto the ferry so we could cross over the Mississippi River. Now, once we get into that ferry, there's plenty of seating that you could do, some open seating, and then there was even some seating with a table. We got a table that was next to a window, so we had a nice view of the Mississippi River as we were crossing over, as we headed into Algiers Point. Now, once we got off of the plank, over here to the right, if we headed straight down to the right, we would head to the bar that we wanted to go to. But since I'd never been to Algiers Point, we kind of wanted to walk around a little bit and take a look at the neighborhood and see what the neighborhood was like and the houses that were here. And I have to say, it did not disappoint. I thought the neighborhood was so cute. These houses were adorable. But the main purpose of us going to Algiers Point was for this bar right here. So this is called Crown and Anchor. It is a Doctor Who themed bar. And I'm a big fan of Doctor Who, so I had to stop by this bar. It was really cute. It definitely gives you that authentic British pub feel. And they even had a few touches of Doctor Who things here. Like over, they had the TARDIS. They had a few TARDIS. Bad Wolf written on the wall. I could have done with a little bit more Doctor Who things, a little bit more Doctor Who touches for me personally. They did have this drink called the TARDIS, which of course was blue, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Now in the back, you could go in the back area, and there was picnic tables that you could sit at. There's plenty of seating that you could sit at for the picnic tables. So if you wanted to go and enjoy the outdoors, you could. In addition, there were some outdoor games. There was a really large Connect 4 game. And then there was also cornhole that you could play as well. So I had this large grassy area in the back. So yeah, there was more seating. So if you wanted to do that and have fun, you could do that. And then there was this little walking area that was dedicated to jazz and jazz music, and it gave you a nice view of the Mississippi River. Then it was back on the ferry to head back on over. We didn't stay for too long, just had a drink and then headed back over because we wanted to go and check out the aquarium that was located right next to the ferry stop. So we headed on inside. Now we were able to get our ticket for the aquarium. We did a combo pass that gave us the aquarium ticket with the zoo. And then there was also the insectarium as well that was all about the bugs and insects. And so first we did that. First we headed to go see all of the insects, which is a separate ticket from the aquarium. So we headed there and we learned about all the different insects, which I have to say, this was not my favorite part. I did not like seeing all the bugs. I feel like the bugs are very creepy. Important, yes, but the insects are very important to our ecosystem and everything. Yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. I get it. They're important, but they're kind of gross. I don't like them. I do like the butterflies, though, so I did enjoy that. But yeah, I didn't enjoy the learning about the insects and seeing the cockroaches and everything. I could have done without seeing that, so I did not spend a lot of time in this area. I kind of went by it as quickly as possible. I did like the big giant insects that they show you. I thought that was pretty fun to see, and definitely this was a good learning opportunity because, like I said, they are important. The insects are important, especially the bees. Bees are super important for, pollinating all of the different plants. And so, I mean, I get their importance, so it's really good to learn about them. And like I said, nature's cleanup crew tells you all about their importance of even like the termites, different things and cockroaches that you wouldn't think are important actually are, not just for a feeding source for like birds and everything, but they also are important for, pollinating and keeping our planet the way it's supposed to be and keeping everything in check. And you get to see the ants and the colonies and how they live and termites. So yeah, it was a very, it wasn't such a huge area, but they definitely had a lot of information to give you about all of the different insects, and they had different ones for you to see. Like I said, that has the diversity of the different moths and tells you what their important ones. So this was nice to walk through. I did enjoy walking through it, even though I found it, slightly disgusting. It wasn't my favorite. But it shows you how their defense is and tells you about the bait shop, and you could go in. Now, This I did not enjoy at all. So they actually have a cafe that you can go in, but they're not serving up your regular typical food that you think that they would have. No, this is bug appetite. So yeah. So they have bug things. So they have chocolate chip cookies with crickets, and then they have all different kinds of crickets served up in different ways. And yes, you could eat these. My husband tried them. I did not. I was not about to eat crickets. I'm not eating bugs. I'm not doing that. But, if that is something that you want to try, you can. They had different ways of different crickets. They told you the nutritional facts for them. And yeah, I get it. They have a lot of protein. Now, my husband said it was not bad. Like I said, I was not eating it, though. I am not eating bugs, y'all. I'm not eating it. It's not going in my mouth. I'm not going to eat the bugs. My husband ate the bugs. I did not eat the bugs. But the section I was interested in was the butterflies. So I did want to go see the butterflies. And so you would go in. Now there are actually 2 different doors you go in. You press the button, you wait for it to turn green. And it's when you first walk up to it, it is red. You press it, and when it's ready for you to go in, the button will turn green, and that's when you know that you can then enter into that door. Now, it is a 2-door system, so once you walk into that door, there is another door for you to go in, because they want to protect the butterflies and make sure that, they don't escape, or that they can help the butterflies. So they definitely watch over that. And so once you walk into this room, you have yet another button for you to push. So you press that button as well. And once that goes green, the other door will open, and then it will open into the exhibit. So it will go green. You just press the button and then wait for it to go green. And then once it goes green, the door will open and you can go in. And then once you go in, you'll see the butterfly exhibit. And it has all of the plants, and then you can learn about the butterflies. And now sometimes the butterflies will land on you. If you don't want them on you, just kind of move a little bit, and then they will fly off. But they had so many different species of butterflies here. And you could see how beautiful they were. They were just flying all over. Now, unfortunately, no butterflies landed on me. I would have liked the butterflies to land on me personally. I would have been okay with that. But I didn't. I wasn't lucky enough to have any butterflies land on me. But after the butterfly exhibit, of course, like everything else, you exit through a gift shop. So if you were interested in any of the bugs, or you had a favorite bug, you could go and purchase something here at the gift shop. They had shirts and toys and everything. And then after you go through the gift shop, you enter into the aquarium area, and where you can see all of the different fish. The first thing you see is the jellyfish, which I personally think jellyfish are very beautiful. I obviously don't like the jellyfish because they sting you, which only happens in salt water, actually. And if you have freshwater jellyfish, they actually don't have the stingers. So they don't sting you if they are freshwater jellyfish. But in the salt water, they do. Now, the first thing you walk into is down in the bayou. So this will show you different fish and gators that you find in the bayou. So I guess this was a whole bayou themed day for us, with having our gator tour earlier of the swamp, and now we're kind of getting a closer look of the fish and everything that was in that area. So that was very interesting. I loved how it was themed, so it wasn't just just tanks that you would see. You actually would see the different plants as well, which was really nice. It gives you that feel of being there and having that closer look. being in the bayou. So I felt like that was really nice. It gave it a little bit more interesting look, so you could see up close the fish that are in the bayou area. So that was really nice to see. It definitely makes it a lot more interesting to look at than if it was just plain tanks. So I did enjoy that. Now I have to say, this aquarium was not all that large. It seemed like it was a pretty small aquarium. Unless you are a super fan of aquariums, I do feel like you could bypass this and not really miss all that much. Now, we had the time, we had the extra days to where we were able to stop by this aquarium. Plus, I do really enjoy aquariums. So for me, this was a definite must do. We had to stop by and see the aquarium. However, like I said, unless you are a big fan of aquariums, you could easily skip that. Now, they didn't just have fish. They also had these owls here. These owls that were actually, they came to them injured. And so I had a broken wing, so it wouldn't be able to fly on its own, which is how it ended up here at this aquarium. So it was really nice to be able to see this owl here. I did enjoy that. Now, like I said, this is not a very large aquarium, but they did have a nice selection of animals and of fish. Now, once we got through the bayou area, they had a tank here. This was a touch tank with the stingrays. So you could actually go and put your water in and, put your hand in the water, and you could actually touch the tank, the stingrays. Now, just past the stingrays, they have a aqua cafe. Now, this is not like the bug one. They did not have the bugs. They did have a nice view of the aquarium, but in here they actually had actual food. So you could go, and they had a touch screen for you to go and order food. So you would just walk up and order food. Now, we were not hungry, so we did not order food here. But if you are hungry, this would be a nice little stop for you to go to and order food. Just go to that touchscreen there and order whatever you want. They actually had what sounded like a pretty tasty menu. They had they had pizza that you could order and burgers, but they also had like gumbo and red beans and rice and boudin balls and crawfish poutine and fried green tomatoes as well, or you could get chicken tenders. They had a kids menu that you could get, and po' boys that you could get, as well as alcoholic beverages if you wanted. Now, once we went past the cafe area, we continued on, and then we actually got to see some penguins, which I enjoyed because I do think penguins are adorable, so I did enjoy seeing the penguins. Of course, this area definitely smelled like fish. Whenever you go see a penguin exhibit, it definitely smells like fish, so it's very stinky. And then after that, we went to a free-flying area where there were different birds as well. And again, you got to see all of the plants, and they had it kind of themed like a jungle area. So that was really nice. And you had the birds. I loved the theming, and you got to see the really big fish that were there, the catfish, and that you would find in this area. And then we were heading over to the Maya area and the golf area, which you would just head on this escalator and then head down, and that would take you to like the Mayan ruins, so you could see the different fish that you would find in the Maya area and the golf area as well. And again, it had that theming, so you definitely knew that you were heading into the Great Maya Reef so that you could see what the fish were. Of course, we got to see the lionfish, which reminds me of Picard. I think of Star Trek whenever I see a lionfish. So I did enjoy that. And then they had the area themed around where it looked like you were in the Mayan ruins. And you were able to see the different tanks that have the different fish that you would find in the Great Reef of that area. So that was really enjoyable. I just find that the aquariums are just very serene, which is why I love them. I think they are very peaceful. So I love going and stopping by an aquarium. And of course, I love whenever an aquarium has like this underwater tank area, this underwater tunnel that you could walk through, which was really nice. And they had the stingrays flying above you or swimming above you, which was really, really nice to see. So I personally enjoy that. I could stay here for a while, just, as though I'm just in the water, of course, dry and everything, but still seeing the fish swimming above me. I really enjoyed that. And then we continued on to the area and got to see more of the aquarium area, which was really nice. Like I said, it wasn't a huge aquarium. It was pretty small. I thought that we would end up spending more time here, but we didn't. They did have a virtual area that you could do. It was not open at this time, so we were not able to do that. But they do show you where they have this large area with the sharks. So they do have the shark tank. This was kind of like a bubble thing, so you could go in there and feel as though you are amongst the fish. I did love seeing the sea turtles. This was probably my favorite area of the entire aquarium, was seeing these sea turtles swimming about in this tank. I love sea turtles. So yeah, this was my favorite part, and I did enjoy being able to see this. So this was part of the Great Gulf Reef on different fish that you would be able to see if you were there. So I love seeing the sea turtle swimming. Then we were able to continue through, and you were able to see what you would find in the Gulf of, I guess, America is what we're calling it now. I always thought it was the Gulf of Mexico, but whatever, I digress. So you got to see the lifespan of a jellyfish, and they told you a little bit more about the jellyfish that you would find, and the different kinds of, like this upside down jellyfish, on how they would swim, because normally I see the jellyfish swimming in the opposite way, but this one was swimming appeared to me to be upside down. And then it told you about the different animals that you would find, or the different fish that you would find in the Gulf area. And so it was really nice being able to see the different fish there, and the sharks and the sea turtles. So I really did enjoy this aquarium, even though it was small. It only took us maybe about an hour and a half to go through the whole thing. So we decided, since we had a little extra time, to go to Mardi Gras World. We had purchased a ticket, so you just call them and they actually will send you. They have different shuttle pickup areas, and there was actually a shuttle pickup area right next to the aquarium over by the view, so that we hopped on the shuttle. They took us to the Mardi Gras World, so we were able to, there's this huge warehouse for Mardi Gras World. So you enter into the warehouse, and you can see, first you walk through this path that has all of these different props that were set up, and then you head down. I did think that these props were pretty. That was right there for like Beauty and the Beast, and they had the fountain and the camel and the unicorn, which was absolutely beautiful. And then they even had some for like Christmas. And you just, first you walk into the like the souvenir shop area, the gift shop. And that's where you would go and sign up for your tour. Now, I was able to purchase my ticket online. And then from there you walk in and then you just register. This is what they give you as your ticket, is your little golden beads, and that is your ticket. While we were waiting to be called for our tour, we decided to look around. We had some time to look around the gift shop. They had art that you could purchase. They also had Mardi Gras themed socks, as well as jewelry like earrings that you could purchase. Of course, everything here is going to be themed around Mardi Gras. You could pick up some masks or some coats or jackets that you could wear for Mardi Gras, as well as shirts and outfits and clothing. Of course, they had Mardi Gras beads that you were able to buy if you wanted to get some beads so you could be very festive. And they had signs that you could get, mugs. They even had some plushies that you were able to buy, and alcoholic beverages. So if you wanted to get some bourbon, you could get that. And then they also had some example of different props as well in the area. And they even had examples of the clothing that people wear for Mardi Gras, different outfits that they would wear for Mardi Gras. So that was really fun. So you could kind of walk around this area and kind of get a little idea of what to expect during your tour. We did went around Christmas time, so they had a whole Christmas display. Once we were called for our tour, we were entering this theater where we would go and you would take a seat and they would show you a video. I was not able to record the video or the tour itself, but the video that they show you give you a little bit of history about Mardi Gras and how it is done. And then they tell you a little bit about it. Then after the video, they give you a slice of king cake to try, which was really good. It wasn't as good as the king cake that I had at the parade for Joan of Arc. Now, like I said, we were not able to film the tour itself. However, after the tour, we were able to walk around, and during that time, we were allowed to tour. And so they told us all about the process of how they make the different props for what they call that go on the floats. So you have either the fiberglass one, or you have them made of styrofoam. Most of them are made of styrofoam now, because with the styrofoam, you can easily update or change or repaint the different figures and the different props. They are easy to change around. So that is why most of them are made of fiberglass now. Or not fiberglass, but styrofoam now. So they have all these different themes. And they were telling us about the different crews and about the different floats, and how each year they have a different theme. So that's why they are made of styrofoam now. Because now you are able to, with the styrofoam, you can easily make them, and then when you go to do a different theme, you can easily change it around. You can change the nose if you want it to have a different nose, or you can give it wings, or change the wings out if they have wings. So that is why they are made of the styrofoam now, so that you can change up the theme. Now, I loved all of the different colors, and I loved all of the vibrant colors that were chosen for all of these different floats. Now, we were able to see some floats that were pretty much ready to go with the props on them, which was really nice. Now, these floats do have bathrooms included, because the parades last for hours, so they actually have bathrooms on them that you could do, so that you get the little porta potties on the floats. And now you can tell the difference of the floats, whether it is the styrofoam or the fiberglass, by the type of base that is used. So if it is that's how you can tell the difference. And then like here we got to see the different process of before they were getting painted, and they showed us they have the different areas on once they are done made on how they would get painted. So it was really nice to go and see all of the props as they were. Some of them were finished and just waiting to get put on a float. And, you know, they were saying how not all of the props here are for Mardi Gras. Sometimes they are for different events. You had some that were for Super Bowl, that were ready for Super Bowl. You had some that were for the Rose Bowl. Pretty much whenever you see one of these large props like this, it's not necessarily for Mardi Gras. If you see them, they were probably made here, whether you saw it for a different parade or you see it at a hotel like at Caesar's Palace. They were made here, which is really a fun fact to learn. And they were all sorts of different themes. You could see, because like each parade does have a different theme, or each crew will have a different theme, whether it be a football theme or maybe a spooky theme, or maybe they're going to have a magical theme. There's one where his theme is around King Kong, and so that is their ultimate thing. Of course, this one was for this right here is for football, and so that was for the like Super Bowl theme for the parade that was there. And then you have sometimes they're Disney themed, so you have that. Now each one of these parades are independently funded, and so that's why they are able to do whatever they want to do, because they are independently funded. Now this right here is the robots called Pixie, and this is what they use to, for the most part, to do the styrofoam ones. Now you can still do it. Some people still do it by hand, but most people will use Pixie to do the textured and to do the layering of the sculpting of the styrofoam. However, sometimes people will still do it by hand, or they'll do a combination of the two where they will do Pixie and they do it by hand as well, and then they hand paint it. And so if you have a chance to come to Louisiana and go through Mardi Gras World, I highly recommend it, because we had such a great time going and seeing all of the different parts of Mardi Gras, and it was definitely a lot of fun. So do it when you have a chance. Enjoy the photos that we took. Photo montage time!
wrap on day 4 here in New Orleans, and we had such a really good time. The swamp boat tour was so much fun. The airboat was a lot of fun. And you know, the bayou is actually really beautiful with all the Spanish moss and everything. I really enjoyed it. And then after we got back, we went to the aquarium, which I gotta say was so much smaller than I thought it was gonna be. It only took us maybe like an hour to go through the whole thing, which was fine because then it ended up leaving some room to where we were able to go to Mardi Gras World. So that was a lot of fun. We had planned on doing that later, but we ended up going today. So that was a lot of fun. And so that was pretty much the day. We got back to the hotel earlier and everything. But we had a really good time. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow, which will be our last full day in New Orleans. And we're actually going to go to Comic-Con, which I'm super excited about. And so if you liked what you enjoyed on this video, please like it and subscribe as well. And remember, I am the key to your best vacation.